Okay, well, let's move into a little bit of positivity. Let's keep it on a positive tip because you had a great topic to talk about. At last episode, we talked about, all of the hate mail that the Little Mermaid trailer got, and what's been going on with the racist conversations behind that, which was just really deep and sour and bitter. But you had a great topic. Why don't we just talk about the positivity that we've been seeing from the Little Mermaid?
Yeah, man.
The positive reception.
Holly Bailey, who's obviously playing Ariel in the new movie, live action movie, she posted this video it showed like a lot of TikTok reactions of like different, like mostly like little black girls reacting to seeing the trailer, and it was just like they're pointing at the screen. It was just ecstatic. Like amazement. It was just ecstatic. It was just like you could feel the emotion through the screen. Like wow, like I'm seeing myself on the screen. Like damn, like I never thought. You know what I mean? A lot of them probably didn't even get to see Princess and the Frog. Some of them were so young, they didn't, we were kids. Bro, I was in middle school when that movie.
That was like what, 08, 09?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so we're getting to kind of see that again, but it's on a much larger scale, especially with TikTok and the internet being much larger than it is now than it was back then. And it was just like very heartwarming, counter to just all the raw hate. Even today, man, I'm just seeing all kinds of just like, grown men crying about a children's movie. Grown men crying about, not crying literally, but they're on the internet like, oh my God, that's my culture. But you're stealing this. Well, it's based off a Dutch legend.
I got it mixed up. I thought you were talking about black men crying.
The OG Mermaid story was African because we are the oldest people on the planet, right? Every culture has mermaid stories, but by default, we have the oldest mermaid stories because we're the oldest people on the planet. So you can't even argue that. The story, the core Disney story, it has nothing centered and tied to what race she is. She literally is a fish person. So I don't even know how you can make that argument, but we're not going to get into it. We talked to it last week, but just the positive elements of just us being represented on screen. I do agree with a lot of people's sentiments that we need more original characters for our own stories, but growing up for Halloween, how many black characters did you have to dress up as? Just not asking many. You personally.
Not many. Literally, the only things I would think of would be like certain heroes, like certain comic book heroes, like Steve Urkel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you don't go dressed as characters, or you go dressed as some people that as like Jack Skellington or something, like somebody that doesn't exist. Like it's not even like a race of person.
Yeah, man. When I was a kid, like I was obsessed with like Power Rangers. Red Rangers. I don't think Red Ranger was the black one. The black one was literally the Black Ranger, but I was the Red Ranger. For years, I was like from like 3 to 5 or like 3 to 6. I was a Red Ranger. Then I was like I was like Naruto for a few years. That's not a black character. And then I was a soldier for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And then I stopped dressing up. But I didn't have shit. Like there was nobody I can really dress up as that represented me. Now you're gonna see a whole new generation. It's like, oh, I can dress up as Ariel.
I can be Ariel now. Yeah.
But we got a lot more now. Like people can be Falcon and people can be T'Challa. T'Challa was a big one. That was a big one. I see people with Black Panther shirts and masks all the time, especially like during Halloween season. But I just think it's great, man. Like before we got on stream, we talked about they do this study. They've done this study, I believe, since the 1940s, where they'll give a little black girl a doll, and it'll be a white doll and a black doll, and the little black girl chooses the white doll because turn on the TV, all you see is white princesses and white characters and white. Nothing represents you, and you want to feel like you're a part of the dominant society. That doesn't represent you, but I'm hoping, in the future, we do a test in the 2040s. We see, we keep getting things like this and we keep getting reactions like this. People start picking that black doll. They're like, oh no, I want to be like Holly Bailey. Of course I'm picking a black doll. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see going forward.
And to that point that you just made about like, it is important to get more original content surrounding black characters. That is the point that holds a lot of precedent, but I think that it's important that we are taking the steps. This is just like the step one, basically, of getting the representation there, because it's almost like, remember when they started making the black Barbies? Mm-hmm. Like that's an important step. You have to start somewhere, and it's no secret that most media, when it comes to TV and movies, are mostly centered around the stories are mostly centered around black trauma and death.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just it. That is what it is. Look at the 90s when, blaxploitation has always been a thing. Mm-hmm. So it is important that we're finally starting to get these characters that have nothing to, it's not blaxploitation. It's just, they just happen to live. Like, when have we ever seen black characters being the center of fantasy?
No. I
Never.
can't think of, yeah.
Like, it was a huge deal when we started, like you mentioned in the last couple of episodes. It was a big deal when we got a black
Lando.
character in Star Wars.
And they were
It was a big
Lando.
deal when they had a black character in, even though she was fucking green, but it was a big deal when they had a black character in Star Trek. That was a big thing. That was controversial at the time, even though she was fucking green.
Oh my god, that's before Lando.
Yeah.
Was she green? I don't think she
was a green alien, dude. I thought she was a green alien.
Bro, no, there's a, and she died recently. There's a black woman who played in Star Trek, in like, I don't know if it was the earliest one, but it was definitely pre-1970s.
And when he kissed her,
she was not green. I swear to God, I'm gonna look at
Captain
right
Kirk
now.
kissed her. It was a big
Oh yeah,
deal.
they were probably crying about that. Because the thing is, like, and they were forward thinking. Why would, in the year 4000, we still got white supremacy and ridiculous racism, and we're interacting with all these different alien civilizations?
Galaxies
In fact,
beyond.
we're going out and meeting indigenous groups to alien planets. But you mean to tell me you still, those blacks? It doesn't make any. It literally logically makes no sense if you're trying to build a believable futuristic universe. It logically makes no sense that there's people are still racist. And you're dealing with all these different alien groups.
They never want to set those two apart. It always they can never have any type of resolve where it's just we overcome the racism between white and black. It never gets to that in their minds and in racist minds for some reason. But I think it's extremely important, and I love to see the black joy surrounding it, bro. This is going to be an entire, especially because of the vitriol that we've gotten. And you said yourself, like, you're gonna go watch it just as like a fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not going to open at night though, because I'll bet you a bunch of racists are going to go hate watch it. So I'm gonna be in the comments, and these dudes gonna be. As soon as something slips out, N-word or something slips out, I'm gonna have to check them, bro. That's why I'm not going.
Black people, I think, are going to get behind this just as we did with Black Panther, even if it isn't a good movie. Because I'll go as far as to say that Black Panther's not that good of a movie as we made it seem like it was, as the dollar sign would say.
And you know what? That movie was problematic, man. We can make that, do a little side tangent on that. I think that movie was actually very problematic.
Because
it was very nationalist, you know, in the sense that it was in the sense that, like, the black American was the villain. The black American who was like, hey, we need to defeat white supremacy.
Was he the villain?
I mean, I don't think he's the villain. He's actually the hero of the movie, Killmonger. Killmonger is probably my favorite Marvel character. But yeah, they made the black American who said, hey, we need to end white supremacy. We need to fight back. They have all the weapons, all the nukes, all the power. You guys have all this futuristic tech that's eons ahead of them, but you're sitting here and watching us die. That is ridiculous. And I'm on his side, right? We need to empower the community and start fighting back. And now we have the tools to actually fight.
Yeah.
And T'Challa was like, fuck you, cousin, die. And then we're going to open up resources to all the white people so they can keep their hegemony and help them out. That's like, come on, dude. Like, you can't tell me that's not some bullshit. And that's kind of genius on Disney's part. You cannot tell me that's not bullshit. We're going to vilify the black revolutionary, Pan-Africanist. And we're gonna glorify the guy who's like, you know what? We're gonna share our resources with the white people. We're gonna go to UN and
I didn't see it like that.
I saw it, but how did you see it?
Well, at the end, he ends up in the hood at the end, and he's like, "Look at my cool tech." So I was thinking that meant that he's going to make that effort to reach out to Black America, into the hoods of Black America.
Right? But he's at the UN reaching out. He's reaching out to the world. He said, "We're going to open our borders to the world," implying there's going to be trade there. That doesn't mean that they're not going to trade their resources fairly, because a lot of African countries don't do that. They just basically give their shit away and sign all these terrible deals and these terrible unpayable loans, and they can go and take all these land and resources, right? Screwing them over. He might be smarter than that and be like, hey, I have the upper position, so I'll actually get a fair price for my resources. But he's still opening his doors to. He didn't want to open the doors and have that same kind of connection. I understand he went to the community, so he might have done both. But I still feel like the precedent there is that you should have still went with Killmonger. That doesn't necessarily mean you had to go. That didn't necessarily mean you had to go and wage war like Killmonger was trying to do. But you should at least be all across Africa building some kind of alliance. Hey, this is how we do it. Hey, we got this tech. This is how you need to.
Oh yeah, they're not going to go that far.
Distributing your resources. No, you know what I mean. He wasn't going to do. He didn't do that. You have the advantage. You're the most technologically advanced civilization on Earth. So all you had to do was, if you didn't want to go to war with all the white people, conquer all of Africa. If you're going to do that, make that one Wakanda, and then close the borders, or then or make it a superpower. But they're not.
Yeah, they're not going to go that far.
They very well have the ability to do that.
It's not inclusive enough for them to do that. So
they made the guy. We were talking about we got on Black Panther. You said that we're probably going to support the Little Mermaid movie like we pulled up for Black Panther.
Oh yeah, for sure, no doubt. I think that wholeheartedly. I'm gonna show up. I'm a little terrified, but I'm gonna show up. I'm a little
terrified, bro, because I feel like that's like a mass shooting waiting to happen. They reacted so badly at this movie. My mom was talking the other day about how she's ever since, and this is like way back in the day. We were like in elementary, middle school. This is like one of the oldest mass shootings, where a white guy pulled up at a movie theater and just started emptying rounds into the crowd. He just entered I don't know how, if he went into the normal way, if he went into like emergency exit, but he came in and just started gunning people down. This is the one I feel like it could happen again. I'm not trying to speak into existence. I'm knocking on wood. I hope it doesn't happen. But the way these dudes were acting was like even worse than usual. Like these dudes be crying about, oh, this is woken. These guys was like, Little Mermaid? What? And they just start going ape shit. Like this weekend with the Queen dying, people are like, oh, she deserved it. They fighting back hard. Then the Little Mermaid trailer dropped. They're already hot, and it just went crazy.